on BKTV News, we have a spotlight on the mini golf course here at FMS and a look at the Sweetheart cancellation.
Along with those, we have a recap of the mental health workshop, which happened here at the Farmington High School earlier this month. We've got an ACT review, a political recap of the month of January, and to close us out, we'll be looking at the best and worst video games of 2020. All this coming up right here on BKTV Live. Wait, be ready, just be ready.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Hello and welcome to BKTV News. I'm Jackson Umfleet.
I'm Alec Burke, and this is BKTV News Live.
Alec, what's in store?
Well, first we'll be hearing from Cage Dobbs, who has all the details on the mini golf course at the Farmington Middle School. A few things to look forward to is Carter Klusmeyer with an update of the political events last month and to look at the best and worst video games of 2020.
But for now, we have Cage Dobbs with mini golf at FMS.
Howdy Knights, my name is Cage Dobbs, and a long time ago when I was just a wee lad, I was a middle school student. We made a golf course on paper with math. The 7th and 8th graders at FMS are showing my STEM class up by far. They're building a full 18-hole putt-putt course with all the fixins, including hills, loops, and even some puzzles. I got the chance to talk with Mr. Barron, one of the STEM teachers at FMS, and a few of his students to ask them a few questions about their process. So let's see why they built a course of this scale.
My initial idea was to do ones that they would make on their tabletops out of, stuff you could find at home, like cardboard boxes, macaroni boxes, straws, things like that. So I went to Mr. Jenkerson so I could get a little bit of money for it and just ask for it. And he said, well, why don't we just make a life size? So one of the things we're going to use them for is probably the Blitz Days, and hopefully we have one coming up pretty soon. But even if we don't, we also talked about maybe doing like an after-school club, a golf club after school. We also talked about just, sometimes fun days, when the teachers are here, having like a mini golf tournament, things like that. So, and again, there's probably more options that we can use it for, but that's our starters, so.
He kind of showed us what to do, what the measurements are, and we drew it on paper, and it kind of just, like, decoration, just everything kind of just took off. We're almost done with it now. It's really fun. I'd suggest the class if you like hands-on projects and all kinds of stuff.
I think the only thing is, we try to make sure we ask the kids, hey, stay 6 feet apart, keep your mask on, things like that. It did get a little bit more difficult when the weather got colder because we were inside instead of we could spread out outside and be a lot further out, or further separated. So that would probably be the only thing that I would think that kind of hindered us just a little bit. So,
kind of just like using the right equipment, and you gotta do more research about it than you actually think you do need to do.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That the only way to get like a project done, like the big golf holes we're doing, is to actually help with your team.
I would say just one little point on that. One thing that's kind of hindered us just a little bit is that we don't have really a set up shop. So we're bringing in drills and sometimes on our part having things ready to go, not having a classroom set up because we really can't do it in there. So having the right drills, the right drill bits, having things charged and stuff like that has been difficult. And the groups have done a really good job. Sometimes, I tell them, hey, be patient, because we're going to, I've got to work with this group for a little bit. And then sometimes like a group gets left out. And it's, that's been the only, challenge on my part is kind of getting around to every group and having enough supplies that every group can be working on it. So it's been fun though.
It's really cool that the middle school has its own mini golf spot.
Yeah, we are excited to see what comes of it in the coming weeks. Up next is Garrett Sheets with the spotlight on the recently canceled Sweetheart Dance. Garrett, take it away.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 has struck again, taking away Farmington High School's Sweetheart 2021 dance. A lot of students I know have been extremely excited for this. Some have even got dresses and suits. But unfortunately, it is now not going to happen. Today, we're going to go to the student body and go get some insight from them.
My name is Ray Morrow.
Michael Lord.
Anna Sykes.
I was actually really looking forward to it because I'd only gone to Sweetheart once before, and that was last year. And so it really sucks to have it canceled this year.
I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed, but I don't see how they could do it during COVID, so I do think canceling it was best.
I'm looking forward to that one because I enjoy dances. The few that I've gone to, they've been a lot of fun, hanging out with friends and dancing and stuff.
Oh, heck yeah.
I don't know. Dances aren't really my favorite, but like I said, I do like, getting ready and looking nice, so it'll just depend.
Thank you to everybody who participated in the making of this video. I would also like to thank Dr. Lamont, our principal, for giving us a quote. She says that she is extremely devastated to do this to the students. However, she hopes that all of us will understand why we really had to do this. And that is COVID, unfortunately. Now that's going to be all for this segment. My name is Garrett Sheets. This is BKTV, and I will see you later.
It's sad that there won't be a Sweetheart dance this year, but at least there's going to be the talent show, which will be divided into 2 nights, Thursday, March 5th and Friday, March 5th, with the coronation following on the 5th.
Yes, luckily there is a month for the candidates to put together their talents and deliver a fun show. Coming up is the best and worst video games of 2020, but for now, let's send it over to Ray Morrow giving us a look at the mental health workshop which took place earlier this month here at FHS.
On January 12th, Farmington High School hosted its first mental health workshop organized by Mrs. Amy Grief.
I just thought this school year, especially with COVID and how our school year is so different than normal, mental health is something that we definitely need to be addressing. Normally, I would say by first semester, I maybe would have already screened maybe 30, 40 students that are having suicidal thinking, but this school year we're already over 100.
To help her with this workshop, Mrs. Amy Grief brought in Jamie Myers.
So Jamie Myers is the executive director of Prevention Consultants. He is a licensed counselor, and he has done multiple job duties before he became the director.
Students would experience a 3-hour workshop where Jamie would go over a variety of topics.
So he is going to address substance abuse, bullying prevention, the risk factors, and all of the protective factors that go into bullying, which then can sometimes lead to suicide.
Well, I hope if nothing else they realize their potential to be helpers, to be able to help their peers get help when they need it. I don't want them to take it on themselves to be the helper and to have to deal with that individually, but I want them to understand how they can help another young person find help and get help so that they can maybe get through this difficult time in their life.
It's sad that there are so many people that are struggling right now, but hopefully those who attended the workshop walked away feeling satisfied. We would like to thank Mr. Jamie Myers for putting on the workshop for our students, and we truly appreciate the time you spent with us here at FHS.
Continuing on from here, Jackson?
Yes, Alec?
Do you know anything about the ACT reviews that the school hosts?
No.
Well, that's good, because up next is Blake Zahner with all the details of FHS ACT reviews.
Blake, take it away.
Every year, 1.8 million people take the ACT test. The ACT is a standardized test used for college admissions in the United States. Besides not wanting to waste the hefty $50 ACT fee, students feel the pressure to do well on the test in order to receive scholarships and college entrances. With all this on the line, many students put a ton of effort into reviewing for the ACT.
The ACT is a standardized test that's used as a predictor for future success in college. A lot of schools and universities make merit-based scholarship decisions on the ACT as well as admission selections based on the ACT. Basically, it's after school and it starts at 3:15 in room 109. And we usually try to do that the Thursdays before the Saturday ACT, and it's a quick review. We have a faculty member or a student who does a quick review on each of the 4 sections of the ACT. I think it's always helpful to have some reinforcement. One of the other things that we do is talk about things that you need to do the night before the test and the things you need to do the day of the test. And particularly if it's your first time taking the ACT, it can kind of be helpful. What are the items that you need to carry to the test, time you need to go to bed, what you need to bring with you. It can be kind of helpful. If they would shoot me an email, we have a Google Classroom with all of those supplies, and we'd be happy to add them to that Google Classroom with ACT Review. A couple of other things that I would recommend is that there are some free online ACT tests that are available through our high school LMC website. And ACT.org has something called the ACT Academy, which is a pretty cool online review that you can do.
Thanks, Blake. We would also like to thank Dr. Reeves as well for taking time out of his day to talk with us for the ACT review. Coming up now is Carter Klesmeyer with a recap of the political events for the month of January.
Hello, I'm Carter Klesmeyer. The United States, and I dare say the world, has been shocked by the events which took place at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, January 6th. A mob comprised of pro-Trump members stormed the Capitol building in order to, quote, stop the count. And of course, the count is referring to the Electoral College votes required to confirm Joe Biden as the future president of the United States. Of course, democracy prevailed as the building was eventually brought to order and the vote was finalized, thus ensuring Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. This will mark Donald Trump as the first one-term president in 28 years, the last one-term president being George H.W. Bush, with his term ending in 1993. In the aftermath of the Capitol riot, which has resulted in continuing arrest of rioters throughout the country, the House of Representatives was then called upon to impeach President Trump. The vote happened January the 13th and ended with the historic second impeachment of Donald Trump, which is a big deal as Donald J. Trump is the first president to be impeached twice. What is also historic is that Trump could be kicked out of office after he is no longer in office. This makes about as much sense as someone being fired by their boss after they've already quit, but in any case, the Senate returned on Tuesday the 19th last month, but the Senate vote for impeachment will not be complete until later on. Trump does have the potential to survive impeachment round dos, but only time will tell. In the most recent news, we now have a new president of the United States, President Joe Biden. The inauguration was done with social distancing COVID-19 guidelines and resulted in a very unique and unprecedented afternoon. Biden, on the same day, signed 17 executive acts which essentially reversed some of President Trump's policies. This is something that isn't new, as Trump did the same thing to some of Obama's policies. At the end of the day, no matter if we're happy or not with Joe Biden being our new president, one thing that we all need to do is hope that President Biden succeeds, because his success is our success. This has been your political recap of the month of January. I'm Carter Klesmeyer reporting for BKTV News.
This month has been very eventful, but I think it's fair to say that we hope things calm down this month. Coming up next is the best and worst video games of 2020.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about Minecraft.
Alec, that game's like nearly 12 years old.
Yeah, but it's still a golden one. Well, in that case, let's Plants vs. Zombies.
That's also almost 12 years old.
Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga.
That's from 2007.
Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice.
2000. That's a movie.
Spider-Man PS4.
Okay, that's 2018. You're getting close.
Super Mario 64.
1996. Are you even trying?
Fortnite!
It's clear that you're going nowhere, but now it's time to send it over to Brian Kaiser with a list of the 3 best and worst video games of 2020.
Pac-Man?
Just stop.
What were the best and most disappointing games of 2020? I'm going to start with the 3 most disappointing and work my way up to the 3 best. Let's begin.
The third most disappointing game is Outer Worlds for the Nintendo Switch. The game is the same as its other console counterparts, with the story and gameplay being the same, but the version for the Switch runs slowly and has laggy gameplay because of the Switch capability to run the game. The second most disappointing game is Crucible. It was a competitive shooter game free on Amazon for PC only, and had a lot of hate because of no information when started. The controls were terrible, and there was also no player communication, meaning there was no way to coordinate an attack with your team members. But the game was taken down as of October 9th, 2020. And the first most disappointing game is Resident Evil 3 Remake, only for the PlayStation systems. This was a remake of the original Resident Evil 3 for the original PlayStation. People hated this because of how short it was, being able to complete it within 3 to 5 hours. And another thing that people hated is because of all the content that was cut, like enemies and boss fights. Now on to the best games of 2020. The third best game is The Last of Us Part 2. only on PlayStation 4 and 5. A long-awaited and highly anticipated game since the bestseller, The Last of Us. It is set in post-apocalyptic America when a disease called the cordyceps fungus had nearly taken out 60% of human life as of 2013. The virus causes the infected to go through various stages of infection, and through these stages the infected become harder and harder to take down, meaning stealth is very important in this world. The game tells the story of Ellie and Abby, who you get to take control of during the story. You start off as Ellie, who is from the first game, and then Abby, an ex-Firefly who survived after the organization was nearly decimated. You also get to learn the story of how these two know each other. It's pretty interesting. The second best game is Half-Life Alyx. In this game, you play as Alex from the previous Half-Life game, in a VR world set before Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 1. There are stealth parts and fighting parts and plenty of scares. I'm looking at you, Jeff. The game has a variety of weapons to choose from, and you can grab almost any object in sight, but with a balance of puzzles and story, this game is overall great. And finally, the best game of 2020 is Doom Eternal. In this game, you play as a Slayer from the previous Doom games, on a quest to free the world from the demonic presence caused by the people wanting more and more power for their worlds. This game has a lot of dark humor, like fixing the crown on the severed head, dragging the badly damaged body of Samuel Hayden. The game also has a lot of action-packed gameplay, like shooting a huge gun into the surface of Mars, and then shooting yourself with the same gun into the surface of Mars. There are even special kill animations you can perform on almost every enemy. And with an amazing soundtrack and music to listen to, whilst fighting the demonic force, it's no wonder why this game is loved so much around the world. Thanks for watching. I'm Brian Kaiser reporting for BKTV News. I'll see you later.
That is all for this episode of BKTV News.
We here at BKTV Studios would like to thank everyone who watched this and had a hand in making this episode, as well as we wish you all a Happy New Year. We hope this year will be better than the last.
That's right.
My name's Alec Burke, and see you next time on BKTV News.
I love Alec Burke.